everybody out there, and welcome to our new series that we're going to call Fast Facts, but that's facts, FAQ.
That's right.
Apostrophe S? It's kind of like fat, P-H-A-T.
You know, that's what the kids are saying these days, right?
But this is kind of frequently asked questions, things that we may assume people know being in the industry and doing this every day, but, you know, that you may not know. First one, what the heck is a due diligence period?
Yeah, and that's a term, the due diligence term is one that obviously we're familiar with. We read it every single day in contracts, we talk about it, but for those of you that are either first-time home buyers or maybe it's just been, a decade plus, it's not a term that you probably run into all the time. Due diligence is simply kind of a fact-finding period when it comes to the property. The most common one, Matt, is your inspection period, that you have a home inspector come out and check out all the components of the home. But that's just kind of for your cookie-cutter home in a neighborhood that is connected to a public sewer and public water and doesn't have a lot of other components to it. Once you start to get to the outskirts, whether it's a farm or ranch property, commercial buildings, due diligence can take on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, I mean, for your typical residential transaction, I think what's pre-written in the contract is 10 business days, so about 2 weeks to kind of get all your questions answered about the physical components of the structure that's there, but also any plans that you may want to do with the property, if those are feasible, if they're legal. And then there's all sorts of stuff with vacant land, whether the property corners are marked, if there's septic feasibility, what the scope of getting utilities to the building site would be, just making sure you're comfortable with all components of the property before moving forward. And that's a period where you can typically back out and still get your earnest money back.
Yeah.
The money, kind of the skin in the game that you put when you have an executed contract. For commercial or larger transactions, that due diligence can be upwards of 90 days.
Or longer sometimes.
Or longer, because it takes that time. If somebody's going to do a subdivision or build a commercial building, there's a lot that goes into environmental studies and whether the zoning allows for it, whether the city will approve it. And so anyway, but that due diligence period is in general just a period within the beginning of the contract that the buyer has the opportunity to get all their questions answered and determine whether they want to move forward.
One thing that I would say is important too, and this is something that you would lean on us for, is if there is something that is either unique, unusual, or just not, again, I'll go back to kind of cookie cutter term with a property, you'll want to make sure that you add in additional provisions, some additional time. It can either run concurrently with the home inspection period, or it can go longer, it can start after, but you want to make sure that you're really clear to a seller on how much time you think you'll need to get these questions answered. And a seller's property disclosure statement, which is something that they'll have to deliver to you, can be helpful, but again, it's assumed, if not outright written in a lot of MLS listings, that buyer is to assume the majority of the due diligence of a property, kind of regardless of what the property is.
That's true. So anyway, that's number 1 of our series. Look forward to delivering some more fast facts to you next week. Enjoy your Tuesday.
See ya.
Hey, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Our handles are shown here on the screen, and you can always find our contact information or more about us on www.buysellbend.com. Thanks.